Hey everyone, welcome back to Super Platinum Achievement. I'm Austin.
I'm Mitch.
And today we are talking about franchises we'd like to see as a new sequel with the next gen of consoles. More and more information has come out with the consoles. More games are getting announced. I know Sony had their state of play, so check that out if you want to stay up to date on that. And it kind of got us thinking, what is another iteration or kind of I'm not saying reboot, but bringing a franchise into the current gen, maybe one we haven't seen for a while. So
yeah, and games that we wouldn't necessarily want rebooted because the originals are so good that we want true sequels to them.
Yes,
and these aren't ones that have been dead for a while necessarily. They're just ones that do not have anything officially announced.
And we'd like to see a sequel.
So we are giving you our top 5 video games that deserve sequels.
Number 5.
The Order 1886. Now, there were rumors several years ago that The Order 1887 was the rumored name, was going to come out. But at the same time, the game got a lot of backlash for being way too short. And now it does have a really big cult following, and most people that have actually played through the game really enjoyed it. The story's really good, the concept's awesome. I personally love the game. Yes, it is really short, and that is a big bummer, but they can redeem that with an awesome sequel to the game.
Yeah, so how I see this game is back early PlayStation 4. Was one of the first big games, I think, with PlayStation 4.
Yeah, it was within the first 2 years.
From a Sony studio, and I think it was more of a almost tech demo of the PlayStation 4 because, obviously it wasn't very long, and I think it's also another issue is they're still learning how to develop for the PlayStation at the time.
It was a beautiful game.
And I feel like they took so much time on the other parts of the game that they didn't get other parts of the game maybe where they wanted it. I don't know. I haven't played it, so it's one I've always wanted to play, and I just never got around to playing it, and he's been telling me to play it for years, so if a sequel comes up, I might be inclined to.
You have to. I mean, it takes you 2 hours, and you're done.
Number 4.
Days Gone. Now, this one, we almost took off the list because it's pretty positive that there's going to be a sequel. If you've played the game, I mean, sort of, spoiler alert, not really, it sets up for a sequel.
Most games do.
But at the same time, yeah, most games do just in case it's really successful.
Oh, hey guys, get another one, go!
Exactly. But at the same time, if it wasn't successful, they could just end it there. I loved the game. Now, when it came out, it did have a lot of backlash because it was one of the more glitchy games, which it's true. It was very glitchy, had a lot of frame rate drop issues. But then after a couple updates...
I think it was one of those games that was made for the PS4 Pro more than the standard PlayStation 4, which was what we both have. And I think that was an issue they have, and they had to really, with the previous subsequent updates after the game's release, was make the PlayStation version, just the base PlayStation version, better.
Yeah, and I do have a buddy that has a Pro, and he's like, I didn't have hardly any issues with it.
That's what I've heard too, is everyone who had a Pro, the game was flawless for him, so...
Yeah. But I love the game. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
It's a cool concept, and yeah, if we could see more, especially in the next generation of consoles, they could do so much more with the world.
Exactly. Wonderful game. If you haven't played it, definitely check it out. That's our number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3 is a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So this was probably one of our most favorite games of last year. We only have it on the list because we're assuming there's probably going to be a sequel just because of how popular it was, but we put it on the list because we really want a sequel to this game.
And it's nothing officially announced. EA didn't originally have plans because EA didn't have faith in it.
Yeah, EA literally said, single player games are done, we're just going to stick to multiplayer, and then Respawn's like, we got the Star Wars game, can we release it? And they're like, whatever, fine. And then it ends up being EA's biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
Behind Apex Legends, which was also Respawn. Shocker.
Which that one's free.
Free. That's why. So it kind of blew people away. And me personally, I think for you, it was just so well done.
Yes. It's a fantastic game and definitely has a ton of room to expand and improve.
And the way they set up the title is just, it's Star Wars Jedi
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
So they could do Star Wars Jedi something else, Star Wars Jedi something else, and I feel like there's so many more potential where they don't have to, continue from this game.
Star Wars Jedi getting back up order.
Getting back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2.
Uncharted. Now, obviously, this is not dead by any means
No.
or anything like that. We got Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was supposed to just be a DLC to Uncharted 4.
Yeah, it was like a standalone.
But it ended up being such a big DLC that they released it as a completely separate game.
Mm-hmm.
And as a DLC, it's longer than the Order 1886. So,
Yikes.
it's fantastic. That wasn't considered a sequel, but more of an expansion to Uncharted 4. But at the same time, it is its own complete separate story.
Yeah.
In Uncharted 4, if you haven't played it, spoilers, they do... Yeah, he hasn't finished it. He's played it.
I've played probably a good first third of the game, I would say.
Yeah, and it's an amazing game, but they do kind of wrap up Nathan Drake's story.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But at the same time, I think it would be very easy to
Pull him back in.
pull him back in, bring him back, or do something else with his child, or anything like that, or maybe continue with Chloe.
Yeah.
They could do lots of it. Anyway,
they always could do like go back to the young Nathan Drake again.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that.
Prequels.
Yeah.
And
Who knows?
we don't know. They haven't said anything about a new Uncharted. There's always rumors, but since it's not official,
Yeah.
we would love a new
And
Uncharted game.
it's just been such a staple for the PlayStation for the last,
And they're
10
so
years.
well done. Every single Uncharted that's come out is extremely well polished. I mean, that's one thing Naughty Dog just does better than
the
anybody.
Naughty Dog polish.
Yeah.
It's a thing, and you look at their last game, like their last 5, 6.
Their Last of Us games.
Their Last of Us games. The 5, 6, 7 games that they've put out since the PlayStation 3, and they've all just been fantastic.
Nearly perfect at launch.
Yeah, so.
Number 1.
This is probably the one I was most excited about, and this is one that may never happen, but it's one I really want. It is a sequel to Dead Space. So Dead Space technically it'd be Dead Space 4.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 Dead Spaces were just fantastic games. The third one was not as good. EA got its hands all over it, which is the problem. My only issue with this is the studio that made the first 2 Dead Spaces does not exist anymore.
Right.
So Visceral Studios is gone, and so I'm hoping, maybe like a Respawn, like we just mentioned earlier on this list, did Jedi. Maybe they could pick up the mantle and, make it just a great Dead Space game.
Yeah, we know that's definitely possible because with Lionhead being dead, now Playground took over and is doing Fable. So we know that franchises, if the studio dies, the franchise doesn't necessarily die with them.
No, they can get moved. They can get bought up and moved around. That's part of the studio going bankrupt, is they sell their IPs off. So I'm really hoping. I mean, EA probably still has the publishing rights to Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping, and especially in the new next generation console, imagine how scary a game like Dead Space could be.
And I imagine with something like this, they're not going to do a reboot of it because Dead Space 2 is considered one of the best games of all time.
Even
to
the
many
first
people.
one was fantastic.
And I think they'll do remasters of them, not remakes, but remasters, and do like a trilogy release, and then maybe a Dead Space 4.
For the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, that would be a trilogy. It probably wouldn't be much of a remaster if they did that. It would just be a port for the Switch. But if they released them, and that would be a great strategy, just releasing ports to the Switch, get all the Nintendo people on board with this
Get them hyped
franchise.
up, and also be like, and Dead Space 4.
Yeah, great way to do it. Nothing's official. Nobody's even talked about this franchise possibly coming back.
Probably, I think, Dead Space 3 came out in like 2010, around there. Like, it's question mark, not verified by Google or anything, but it's been a long time since we've seen a new, since Dead Space has been.
There's been a lot of Dead Space in between when the last one came out.
For sure. So yeah, that rounds up our top 5 games we'd like to see a sequel show up onto the next generation consoles. So I was going for it.
Same time. If you like these kinds of videos, top 5s, top 10s, make sure to check out our other content. Give us that big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button, and make sure to stop by again with
Super Platinum Achievement.
Thanks, guys.